afternoon. But now it's time to talk a little golf with our guy, Jimmy Hanlin, PGA Pro, and we're getting ready for the Open Championships coming up beginning, later today. Jimmy, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, Sam. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I was just looking at the forecast for Royal Portrush this weekend, and there could be some bumps in the road coming up here the next 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, predicting the weather in Ireland is like predicting the weather in Cleveland, Sam.
Right.
You know that. I mean, it's like, who knows what's coming? You know, it comes off the water there, and so we'll see. But that usually is what makes an interesting Open Championship, and so I'm kind of rooting to get a little bit of it, I think.
Me too. Here was my plan. I said this about 15, 20 minutes ago. I like for good weather on Friday. No, good weather Thursday, bad weather Friday, bad weather Saturday, and great weather on Sunday. That's what I want. But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good mix. That's a good mix right there,
right.
For sure.
So some of the really cool featured groups, and I got it narrowed down to about 4 or 5 here, but give me 1 or 2 that you really going to maybe keep an eye on. The first is Schauffele, Spawn, John Rahm, Lowry, Morikawa, and Scotty, McIntyre, DeChambeau, Rose, Spieth, Aberg, Hovland, and I really like this one here, Rory, Justin Thomas, and Tommy Fleetwood. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a lot of good groups right there for sure. You know, I think it's going to be interesting to see, for me, the Rory Lowry playing at home with all of the, the hometown stuff that comes with it, tickets and family and everything. So both of those guys, I know they're not playing together, but both of those guys, those are 2 interesting ones that I have no idea. You could sit there and easily say that they're going to miss the cut, or you can easily say that they're going to contend, right?
No,
when they
no
grew
doubt.
up at the golf course, they know the golf course. So, but again, as you know, just no different than NFL and NBA players and MLB players. You know, when a lot of family comes in town, it's just life. You got more to do. You got a lot of stuff to do. So, those 2 will be interesting for sure. Especially, I think you said Scotty's with Lowry, right? So that's even more pressure. Playing with the number 1 player in the world. You're the defending champion at that venue last time it was there. So a lot of pressure coming on for Shane Lowry. But again, nobody knows the golf course better.
You know, speaking of Scotty Scheffler, I'm sure you heard or at least read his comments the other day about how this is not the end all be all for him. It's not the most important thing. And he went on for about, I don't know, a minute and a half about it, just, hey, for him, it's being with family, it's being with loved ones. And this is a second thing for him now. I don't say I was caught off guard by it, but to hear that coming from him and where he's at in his career was, I don't know, a little bit of a shocker.
Yeah, I think Scotty, that's just how he is, right? That's how he goes about his business. That's what he tells himself. But then, I also see Scotty Scheffler probably getting more aggravated when he plays bad golf than I ever have before, right? I mean, Sam, I think sometimes people just tell themselves something to make them handle, certain situations and certain times in their life better. But I really do believe that Scotty Scheffler has the drive to want to be, the best players in the world for a long time, right? And so I think that he has the talent. He does get pretty aggravated when things don't go right. And I think he's trying to, tell himself, and I'm sure his family's telling him the same, that listen, it's not the end of the world if you play bad golf, but that dude doesn't play bad golf very often, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I never thought about it. I mean, it's a way to maybe take the pressure off yourself a little bit and just go out there and let it fly. And who knows, he may take it by the time Sunday rolls around. Jimmy Hanlin is our guest. Jimmy, when I first started kind of like watching golf and playing golf a little bit, and I always thought, links golf. And then I would try to compare it to regular golf courses and I always wondered, I wanted to get inside the head of somebody who was really good. And I know you can answer that. I mean, what is the approach for links golf? I know the weather's involved. It's the openness of the course, crazy bunkers, lack of trees. What's the approach when you tee it up for the first hole?
Well, what I always tell people is that, people from Europe learn to play golf with the golf ball on the ground, right? Running shots up onto greens, landing them short, not flying and hoping, that the ball stops right by the hole. And it's funny, like even I'll go around today and I'll drive around one of my golf courses and, one of the guys, I'll ultimately hear somebody go, well, the greens aren't really holding today, right? They're, I'm flying it. I flew it on the green and it bounced off the back, right? And that's just a different style of golf course and a different style of play, right? I mean, typically if a green holds and you hit a full shot in and it just stops right there, it's probably a little too spongy, right? It's, good greens are firm, right? They stay firm and they only hold the best players' shots that have that kind of spin. So, that's the biggest thing to me. I think people don't understand is, and like you said, I think weather is a huge, huge factor in links golf because there are no trees to stop the wind or anything like that. But really it's understanding how to play the golf ball around the ground, around the mounds, and those types of areas where in the United States, you see us bring the ball in from the air most of the time because, they'll be bunkering in front of the greens and those types of places. So, you have to fly it onto a lot of the greens, but over there, links golf, keep it on the ground, keep it low. You'll be in good shape.
Jimmy, who are some of the best, maybe the top 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, links players in your mind?
I think you got to look, overseas. It is funny. I would not consider Rory a great links player, right? Because he hits it so high and has so much speed. I would have said even before he won here last time, Shane Lowry seems to be a very good links player. Seems to understand how to chip and putt around the greens where you're not flopping it up in the air, in that type of a style. So I think he's very good. I always thought Phil was a very good. I mean, he's not, obviously he's probably, he's not going to be competitive now, but I always thought Phil was a very good links player. He had different shots than Tiger. I mean, the Tiger Stinger, right? That is links golf right there, right? That's the ball 5 feet off the ground, wind's not affecting it, and the ball's rolling across the ground. I think this week you can look at guys like Victor Hovland. You can look at guys like Patrick Reed. Those are the types of players that, seem to play the ball a little lower and don't mind playing it, across the ground. Those are 2 guys that I think are creative and could play pretty well this week. And then again, like I said, I think Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood is another guy that kind of flights the ball a little lower and understands how to play it, down. And he's been playing great golf. He's somebody you really want to watch. He's one of those guys that just can't get a win. And there are a lot of people rooting for him too. I think this would be a great week for him.
Jimmy Hanlin is our guest. PGA Golf Pro does a great job covering golf, playing golf, taking care of golf, pin shot, 18 holes. Check him out on all of his social media platforms. Usually the week before the Open, not a lot of guys, or I'm not sure how many of the top guys are even playing because they want to get ready for what is to come. But let's just say there are a handful that play the week before, and then you get ready to go over. What is that like mentally? I know these guys travel in style, a lot of them, but still, the time, the flight, the getting comfortable, all the little things you have to do. What are the adjustments that you got to make there as opposed to playing a tournament in, Oklahoma one week and then maybe going down to Georgia the next?
What you'll normally see, Sam, is you'll see a lot of them go overseas and play the week before over there.
Okay.
So the Scottish Open got a lot of PGA Tour players who played in it last week, right? Because you're right, they wanted to play the week before, but they wanted to, not travel the week before and go through all of that. So they get over there, they get comfortable, they're in the area of, and then they go from there. So I think if you looked at that, you would have saw a lot of the Scottish Open, players. I do, it's still a thing though, right, Sam? I mean, there's 30, 40 players that travel, private planes overseas. I would say somewhere around in that area, 30 to 40, maybe 50. But the rest of these guys, they got to fly commercial, right? I mean, so, get ups. Make sure that all your luggage gets there. You're staying in hotels. You're doing those things. And, so I think it is a challenge. It's a challenge to travel that much. I'm actually on the road right now. Natalie's with me. You probably could ask her the question better than me of just how you handle that type of travel. But if you talk to a lot of these players, and Natalie's a great example of it, is that they just don't even get frustrated in when travel goes bad. They're just so used to it. And if they let it affect their mindset, then they just have a chance, right? You can't get all worked up. can't get mad if your clubs get lost. It's going to happen. So you just kind of accept it and move on with it. It's just part of their life. It's just like you and I getting up and going to work, the next day. That's kind of how they handle it.
Jimmy Hanlin is our guest. We always appreciate his time here on the show, 1310 WDPN. When I first started watching the British Open, now the Open Championships, I was always fascinated, Jimmy, with the last couple of holes and the giant grandstands behind the 18th green. I thought, my God, that's got to be an either rush of a lifetime or your knees start knocking there a little bit. And they're expecting over 275,000 this weekend, maybe a record-breaking weekend for crowds. I wonder what that is like to walk up to the 18th on any of the courses for the British Open or Open over the years and seeing all those people just waiting for you to do something great or maybe even to slip up a little bit.
Well, you depend on who you ask, right? Sam, if you ask John Vandeveld, it's not a very good walk, right? I mean, that's
terrible walk.
That makes it difficult. Talk to Greg Norman, he's had a couple bad ones, So it really just depends on who you're asking. But yeah, I think what a great experience, right? I mean, I think the most memorable for me is just Tiger, right? And the crowds that followed him walking up 18 at St. Andrews and some of the great venues for the Open Championship. But they love their golf, Sam. I mean, think about this. I mean, these guys have soccer teams, right? But there's no NFL, no NBA, no Major League Baseball. They have soccer and golf, right? I mean, that's most of these. I mean, there are some other, ancillary sports like rugby and stuff like that they play over. But in general, golf is right up there with soccer with the number one sport. And so it's exciting, right? And when it comes to these little towns, I mean, we're not talking massive towns. I've been to Portrush before, where they're going, and Portrush is I don't even know how big to tell you, the size of Willoughby, right? It's that, so small towns and big events coming to their town, and it's awesome, right? It's awesome for them. They support it so much, and even a guy like Ben Curtis that won overseas years ago, British Open. I mean, he's a god, right? He's a god there because he won their national championship, and that means a lot to them. And you win an Open Championship, you're the man forever for the rest of your life. And it's a really, really big deal, probably even bigger than we make of it here in the United States. It's fun.
You know what? I was just going to ask you about the crowds, just from what I noticed, never being there in person. Very hardcore, very knowledgeable, but very vocal. Would that sound about right? I mean, it's serious business over there, but they understand it and they embrace the heck out of it. Yeah,
for sure, no doubt about it. They're not going to heckle you. Well, maybe Ryder Cup, but outside of Ryder Cup, they're not going to heckle you. They know the game, they understand the game, and they respect the game, right? And so I would agree with you totally. I think they're more knowledgeable than the average, American fan. I think they're into it a little bit more. And yeah, I think from that standpoint, there is nothing but just awesome stuff if you're over there and playing good golf, because it just is so much fun.
Jimmy Hanlin is our guest. One more, and we'll let you roll. And again, I appreciate you making time on your busy day, a travel day here for you. Maybe not necessarily a winner, Jimmy, but give me two or three that you think may have a shot to hoist the cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go, from a long shot standpoint, I like Justin Rose. I think his game is, I know he's getting a little older, but I think his game is really good for major championships. His mindset is really good. He's been competitive multiple times before, and he's been playing decent golf this year. So I if you're looking for a long shot, I like Justin Rose a lot. Vic Hovland, again, if he can putt it good, he hits it great for this type of venue and what he's trying to do from that standpoint. So it should be really good. And then, I think from the A players standpoint, I don't love Rory. I hate to say it. I think he's got a lot going on personally right now. Now bring him onto his own golf course where he grew up and all the people that he's going to see. I mean, I love Rory as a person, and I think he needs to be successful for golf to be successful. But I think that's a lot for somebody to handle this week, to be honest. So, so you take Rory out of the mix. How do you not love Scotty, right?
Yep, that's
Scotty
right.
And John Rahm, I think both are two guys that are set to really be successful this week. And I think both of them, are, again, both of those guys if their putters are hot, they can win a major by 6-7 shots, right? But that's the club that typically lets both of them down is the putter. So we'll see how they both putt this week. But I think as the favorites, those are the guys. But if you're looking for a couple non-favorites, I think Justin Rose and I'll give you one more. Kent State, Corey Connors, great ball striker, just like everybody else, needs to putt it a little better than typical to get himself a win. But wouldn't it be pretty cool for Herbie Page to have two of his guys hoist claret jugs? That'd be pretty awesome.
That would be awesome. I think when I open up the old FanDuel app, I'm going to take a shot on Tommy Fleetwood. Am I nuts?
Yeah, good one.
Okay.
Yeah, good
All
one.
right. Good luck.
Sammy, he just is having problems finishing like he did like less than 3 weeks ago in a tournament.
Yep.
But man, he has the talent, and man, he has the people rooting for him, and he's super popular. It's a great bet. At some point he's got to get over the hump. He's just, let's hope it happens this week.
Yeah, they don't get over the hump until they get over the hump. That's usually the way it goes. Jimmy, thank you so much. Safe travels out there. Enjoy the Open this weekend, and thanks again.
I appreciate it, Sam. Thanks.
You got it. Jimmy Hanlin, check him out on Pin Shot, 18 holes. All his social media platforms, tremendous. PGA Golf Pro always takes time to be with us before the majors as far as the golf is concerned, and appreciate him coming on 1310 WDPN.